Oh, baby, we got nothing but good news today on Uncanceled. This is going to be fun. Fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. I'm in a good mood. Headed to the Royals game tonight. Guy Benson's coming to town. I think we're going to be at the ball game with him tonight. We've got the event tomorrow night at Boulevard Brewing with so many great listeners of KCMO Talk Radio. It's a great week. We got our first 90-degree day. Let's go. This is right in my wheelhouse. And we're going to have some fun today, including talking about the U.S.-China agreement in 30 minutes. Trump has tweeted out that this baby is done, and the numbers are staggering if true. He says he'll have to sign it. Xi will have to sign it. They'll have to formally present it, whatever, but it's done in principle. I'm surprised the stock market hasn't reacted in some way, but the headline, there's a lot of things blurring the deal here, but the bottom line is Trump is saying we're getting a 55% tariff on goods coming in, and you will not believe how much money that is. We will run the numbers for you in 30 minutes. Inflation is down every single month of the Trump presidency. We got a lot of great topics with Mark today, including secondary riots in California. This is in a town called Antioch, California. I'll tell you what it is. It's not people rioting. It's animals that they're trying to control in California. The whole thing is out of control. We begin today with the demonstration. Over the years in radio, we've had some really big events with thousands of people where we gather for a cause or whatever it may be. We've done things. I know Pete's doing the charity thing on Saturday, the fun run that he's doing. And we had many events like that where so many people would show up. We had Share the Wealth, the walkout at Kauffman Stadium. All these things were peaceful. We had a Jim Rome tour stop one year at Municipal Auditorium where thousands of people showed up. We knew what it was like to put on an event where people came. Now people just post things on social media and like 150 people show up and every news channel is there. If it's a leftist cause. And apparently this was supposed to be that. Now, it wasn't. To me, I don't know what this was, and I didn't really hear any interviews with the people that were marching. It was a march. Let's call it was a march. I didn't hear anybody get interviewed articulating the point like the reporters were making. Like all the TV reporters were saying, they're anti-ICE. They're upset with the policy. And they went through the whole thing. But I didn't hear any people articulate that. These look like the same people that just hate like Trump in America. So I'm going to read for you something that I wrote today. On my daily podcast, I do a synopsis of the episode before you want to hit. It's kind of a tease, like, hey, play this episode. Here's the topics today. And so I wrote this about what happened with the riots last night as a tease to listen to Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. That's all this was. This is something that I wrote. I actually have a lot of podcast listeners that I love reading what you have to say to promote your podcast. And then sometimes I listen later after I read it, but they read it every day. It doesn't really read like a newsletter. It's just an opening. Hey, here's what the episode's about today. So I wrote, fewer than 200 people gathered in Kansas City to protest ICE, and it was a comical group. A whole bunch of white people with wrinkled clothes, ratty hair, and bad signs complaining about the laws of our land is less than inspirational. And they all went home before dark. These are not ICE rallies. These are just the same people that don't like America or Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass implemented a curfew Tuesday night, and it was ignored. Political rioters and looters took to the streets, and LAPD says 197 people were arrested. And those that broke into the Apple store a night earlier, well, they had a rude awakening. Apple tracked those who stole products, turned the information over to authorities, and disabled the devices. Hysterical. Steal shoes next time. So that's kind of you know where I'm going with this. These people are funny. They don't stand for anything. This wasn't 12,000 people from the Hispanic community in Kansas City upset that illegal aliens are being targeted because they've committed additional crimes other than breaking into the country, which is crime enough in my book to deport them. And you can, and you actually take an oath as president to do that. Obama gave a great speech about this in 2011. He was taking heat for deporting so many illegals. He's like, I don't have the option to not deport. It's in the laws. Congress wrote the laws. I'm the president. I have to execute this. I don't have an option to not do this. Now, how a few years later we are where we are, I don't know. But America's going to relearn the law here. That was my point yesterday. Over the next 4 summers, they keep this up, Americans are going to learn the law. The polling is overwhelming on this. America's in favor of this by more than 60-40. Deport them. It's okay, and use the National Guard. So this group in Kansas City I thought was really comical because it was not some sort of an outpouring of immigrants. Where were the immigrants, by the way? This just looked like a whole bunch of people that lived in Roland Park. And it's not very far to Liberty Memorial. That's easy. You know, we're just going to roll over there in our Subaru, park close by, have a friend take the Subaru a mile and a half down the road. We'll walk a mile and a half. We'll get back in our car and we'll be done. We got to get home before dark. Goodness sakes, we got to get sleep tonight. This was not LA. This was not an ICE rally. This was, there's something going on somewhere else. We're going to draw attention to ourselves. And then the fireworks that went off, that report on Channel 9 that was live where we heard the fireworks, the camera panned away from the reporter. The reporter's there, and then people are walking away behind him. The 150 people or whatever are maybe 50 or 100 yards behind him, looked like to the north. They were walking to the north. And then the camera pans all the way to the south, and like 2 blocks down is where they're setting off what I used to call fireworks that we called mortars. These weren't things that went up in the sky and made a whole bunch of pretty colors and stuff. They were just big, they're like flashbangs. But you can buy them at Pyro City or wherever it is you go, right? So that's what I saw. And the people who did it were hiding. I think what happened was there were folks that lived in the area that thought, let's see if we can cause a little mayhem here. These white people are walking through here. Let's blow up some stuff and see what happens. Let's see if they get scared. Let's see if they run. Let's see if there's panic. I think they were instigators. I do not think they were part of any anti-ICE thing, any walk. This is just my 2 cents worth, folks. I don't think any of this had anything to do with ICE. Like none of it. Zero. Or deporting criminals that are also illegal aliens. Nobody's on board with that. This is settled law in our country. And it has giant support of the American people. If this is what you're hitching your wagon to, you're losing. And this came on a day where a couple of people conceded to Trump. And I loved it. I'll share a couple of these with you. We have Gavin Newsom fighting Trump. We see some others. There are media members fighting Trump. They're going against Trump. I'm just asking the question. I'd love for somebody to call me and tell me who beat Trump over the last 10 years. Somebody that went up against this man. In the public eye, from Rosie O'Donnell, you know, in the beginning to politicians, and just show me the one person that went up against Trump. I hate this guy, got in a giant feud with him, and came out on top. I want to know who that person is. He's discarded every one of these people, you know, like littering trash out the window on a freeway. It's just one soda can after another you're throwing out the window. They're all just laying along the side of the road dead. They're everywhere. And there were 2 people yesterday that they're smart enough to see this. They're like, oh my God, Newsom's the next one that's going to have his career ended by Trump. This is easy to predict. It's going to happen. He's in real trouble. He's picking the wrong fight. And the Democrats that are doing it, or the media that are doing it, this Terry Moran was fired yesterday by ABC. He took on Trump, lost his job. ABC doesn't want another lawsuit. CBS is fighting a lawsuit right now. You don't fight the man. You lose. America likes Donald Trump. That's what they don't get. So on this day where we had everybody going up against Trump, supposedly, what did we see? We saw 2 people do something really common sense. Elon Musk tweeted out that he regretted his statements about Trump last week, and he went too far. Elon Musk apologizing to Trump. I think the man woke up and was like, you know what? The last thing I need in my life is a fight against Donald Trump. Because everyone that's gone up against this guy, he's killed. Metaphorically killed. I ain't doing it. He beats everyone. And then a lesser one yesterday is the famous gymnast named Simone Biles. And she took on Riley Gaines last week. Riley Gaines is the supporter of women only in women's sports. And Simone Biles went after Riley Gaines and body shamed her. Said, you look like a man. What do you care about competing against men? You're a man. Like it was awful. Simone Biles is a committed liberal. But I'm going to give her credit today like I'm going to give Elon Musk. Here's what she posted. I wanted to follow up from my last tweets. I've always believed competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential in sport. The current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges, and it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley Gaines, which I apologize for. These are sensitive, complicated issues that I truly don't have the answers or solutions to, but I believe it starts with empathy and respect. I was not advocating for policies that compromise fairness in women's sports. My objection is to be singling out children for public scrutiny in ways that feel personal and harmful. Simone Biles. Amen, Simone. You just keep being a liberal. You say what you want and you think what you want, but don't become the person that you think the right is. Somebody who will body shame someone or insult somebody or, slam their gender or sexual preference. You did what you claim conservatives do. And you know what? The backlash was overwhelming over 2 or 3 days. And I'm going to guarantee you, she had a publicist somewhere say, look, everyone that's taken on Trump has fallen by the wayside. Don't do it. And Riley Gaines is Trump. It's the same thing. Don't let him get involved. You've got a great career, all these endorsements, all this money. Stay out of the fray. And she apologized. My God, we're living in different times. They had control of what we were supposed to think, not only what we say. They had control of what we were supposed to think for almost 20 years. And they did that to us, and it's gone. They're afraid of Trump. Newsom may think he's a big man because he's not afraid of Trump. It's not going to work out well for him. These people that quickly realize this is not the fight I want to pick, my life's pretty good, they get the hell out of the fray. That's smart business. I don't think you want to take on Donald Trump. Can anybody call me and name one person, high profile, that got in a massive public spat with Donald Trump that actually came out on top, that beat this man? One person. I'm all ears. 913-408-7957. You're listening to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Overland Park to Oak Grove, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
You know, maybe it's radio lazy, but it sure is fun to be like a white person making fun of white people. It's just such an easy thing to do because you know you can get away with it. But I make fun of almost all white people, just to be clear. I don't pick sides on this thing. The problem is there's some people you can make fun of them a little bit and they take it as a compliment. I think conservatives are mostly like that. But if you use the word Bubba and you started talking about a guy who's got like a bass fishing boat, he likes to drink Busch Light, hang out in a cove on the lake, you say, look at that Bubba. He's like, thank you. I appreciate that, right? Oh, he wears a wife beater. Thanks. Gotcha. That's me. Yeah. Hey, weird little golfer man wearing your funny little pants today. Oh, that's your host. I get it. White people are goofy. We know the different groups within white people. We totally know all the different groups. Like we can see a white person and just immediately put them into like one of 6 containers. It's the easiest thing ever, which made that thing last night so comical for me. It was like, I know those people. I see them driving down the road. I know the car they drive. I know where they get their food. I know they had their masks on during COVID in their car. It's not hard. It's kind of fun. It's low-hanging fruit for a talk radio guy, but come on. That's what this is all about. We might as well have fun while we are here. I mentioned there'd be a lot of good news on the show today, and there is good news. In a few minutes, we'll talk about this U.S.-China agreement, which is the numbers are staggering here. If I'm interpreting this all right, they're staggering. We also got great inflation numbers again today, so there's cool stuff. You've heard John Anthony a couple times today on the news mention this Fairfax plant in Kansas City that's been here forever, my entire life. The Fairfax plant is well known. The original plant was built by the Fairfax Airport. A lot of people don't know that. I guess there was an airport there. I don't think it's in use anymore. During World War II, we built bombers. The United States federal government built that plant to make bombers, and when they were ready to fly, they took off from the Fairfax Airport, and they were in service. After World War II, General Motors bought it, turned it into a car plant. It's a cool place. They built some badass cars there. They built Cadillacs there. They built Cutlass there. They built the Malibu until recently, but it wasn't the classic Malibu. It was the newer version Malibu. But come on, we're talking about the Cutlass here. I think many of you recognize what the Oldsmobile Cutlass was in America at one time and how many people cherish it today as collectors. There's a lot of history at this plant. They had turned it into a Chevy Bolt EV plant. General Motors moved a lot to EV. Most of these companies estimated what their EV production would be. They're not selling as many EVs as they thought. What's cool is like I drive a Chevy Blazer. One of my sponsors on my podcast is a Chevy dealer, and I got a Blazer. It was made in Mexico, but the Blazer's now moving to America. It's coming to Tennessee. The Equinox by Chevy is coming to Fairfax, which is really cool. That's bringing the Equinox right now is a very popular model for Chevy, and they're all made in either Canada or Mexico. That's ending. They're coming to Kansas City, Kansas. They'll be made here. They realized they were retooling this plant for the Chevy Bolt, but there were not going to be enough bolts to be made, and they've put this money in it. General Motors is spending $4 billion to move manufacturing out of Mexico and Canada to Detroit, Tennessee, and Kansas City, Kansas. This is the Trump effect. This is winning. Were their hands forced? I mean, maybe, but look, what they had done with their American plants was they were turning them under Biden administration rules and regulations and the things that they were doing to EV plants. Ford went almost bankrupt making EVs. I mean, they way overestimated what was going to happen and got in real financial trouble because of electric vehicles. And I'm not saying the American car makers can't make good EVs, but most people that want electric vehicles right now just want a Tesla. I mean, personally, I've seen some of the other EVs running around the road, like the Audi. That looks like a great car. I mean, just a great looking car. I don't think Teslas are very good looking. That's just my eye. I look at them, I'm like, not really my thing, especially the truck. And the other car makers, I thought, well, they're going to build beautiful cars with, nice luxurious appointments inside, and people are going to buy them, but they're not. Those people that want luxurious appointments and good-looking cars are still buying gas cars. That's what's happening. So retooling Fairfax for the gas-powered Equinox is awesome. They're taking it out of Canada, out of Mexico, and they're bringing it to Kansas City, Kansas. That's a win. That's just a little, it's just a little story that John does on the news and barely gets mentioned here and we don't think about. That plant employs 2,100 people. But if they spend 1/3 of the $4 billion they're going to spend on that plant, how much are they spending with Kansas City companies to retool that plant and build that out? Like if we're talking about the Chiefs and Royals moving state lines, the Panasonic battery plant, these things that are coming and what our states will do to get new business. This one just fell in Kansas's lap. That is unbelievable economic stimulus for Kansas. This is not a big state. I mentioned it many times here. It's half the size of Missouri, not geographically, but population and money and economy and all that stuff. It's a fraction of what Missouri is. This is a really big deal. This is why elections matter. I don't know any politicians that were working on this. This wasn't your federal government or state government that did this for you. This is General Motors, and they got a long history here. And I'm thrilled this is happening. I'm happy for the auto workers that work there, and I'm happy for all the companies in Kansas City that are going to get construction jobs, part jobs, putting parts in there, bringing things in. It's just going to be a wonderful thing. It's great. I would love to see Fairfax thriving, Claycomo with Ford thriving. We want to see all these industries thrive. And that's what Trump's trying to do in places that we don't even think about anymore. When was the last time you thought about the Fairfax plant or the Claycomo line in the Northland building Fords? When was the last time you thought about that? Well, there's a lot of people in that industry that are thinking about it right now, and good things are happening, and I love it when good things are happening. I don't know if you saw this. We've spent so much time talking about the Chiefs and Royals and how they're fixated on their stadium issues. Mark, did you know this? The Chiefs are starting a movie studio. They've started this company. Have you heard of this?
Is that the Trap?
No, it's called Foolish Club Studios.
Okay, I've not heard about
All
that.
right, this is in the Hollywood Reporter. Like the Chiefs are going to Hollywood, and they're going to make movies. I'm going to guess that it's Clark Hunt wanting to do Christian films and things like that, but it's also going to be sports related because that's what he's in. Mark Donovan, the president of the Chiefs, has been named CEO of Foolish Club Studios, according to the Hollywood Reporter.
Interesting.
Do we really think the Chiefs president should be involved in being a CEO of a movie studio? Honest question.
Hey, it's people that just want to make more money, right?
It is people that want to make more money. And if they're going to this much trouble to make more money with the Chiefs, what will they do when it comes to a stadium? Don't you think they'll take the option that makes the most money for them?
Make a dome the home.
Make a dome the home. There you go. Awesome stuff. When we come back, stunning numbers on what Trump has posted about the deal with China that seems to be done and how much we gain. Next on Uncanceled.
From Gardner to Grain Valley, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I'm having too much fun. They shouldn't pay us to do this. It's too good of a time. If you'd like to join the discussion, anything on your mind is fine with me. 913-408-7957. There's a video making the rounds. I just saw it, and then I looked at my messages, and I've had a couple of people send it to me, so it just came out. I can't verify that this was last night, but it sure looks like it was last night in Los Angeles. But it doesn't say exactly. It's one of those live news camera shots of, white dude who's upset. He's out there protesting. And the cops have put one of the smoke bombs in the streets by the barrier to keep everybody behind the barrier from coming forward, right? And it's got smoke coming out of it. This guy has a gas mask on, and it looks like he's wearing jorts. Again, we can make fun of white people all day. This is so easy. Jorts are jean shorts. They look like jorts. And he's got a T-shirt on and a gas mask. He's got something in each hand. I don't know what. He's clearly, it looks like maybe his phone. He's filming himself, but he's going to throw something with the other hand, although it doesn't look like he's capable of throwing anything. And he goes out and he kicks the can in the road that has all the smoke coming out of it, like to kick it back to the cops. And then he runs like a girl back about 15 feet and stands there like a tough guy. And he gets shot with a rubber bullet in the nutsack.
Left or right?
It just drops him. Wait, that's not the best part. His buddy comes out to help him up. His buddy has a Colin Kaepernick jersey on.
Oh, good. Oh, good. That is perfect.
You cannot make this stuff up. This is so great. Again, I cannot verify it was last night. I mean, if he's got a Kaepernick jersey on, could this have been during the Floyd riots? I don't know, but I think we'd have seen that by now. If this was a few years old, wouldn't everybody have seen this?
Yeah, you'd think so.
This is going to be the viral moment of the L.A. I don't know what they are, riots, political riots, but this is how you stop this stuff from happening, okay? You can think you're a tough guy. You're going to go out and kick that smoke bomb. You're going to really be involved and make a difference, for the people that are oppressed. We're going to go help them. I'm Mr. White Guy with a gas mask and a backpack on, which that alone ought to be illegal, carrying that backpack around at something like this. He should just be pulled over and, oh, my God, he takes it right in the groin. It's unbelievable. You folks are going to have to see this at some point. You are just going to laugh and replay it, and he got what he deserved. F-A-F-O. There you go. Great news from Donald Trump today. He has posted that the deal with China is set pending final signatures and agreements with President Xi and President Trump. So before I get to the numbers, here's what ended it. Trump wanted his number, and he wanted some rare earth minerals. Apparently magnets are a big thing in China. And so they're going to deliver magnets to us up front. Whatever it is that we want, they're going to sell it to us, and we're going to get that up front. That's done. What was holding this up at the end? This is going to blow your mind. This is the art of the deal. You remember the last couple of weeks? You've heard so much about 230,000 Chinese students in America and what kind of mayhem that could be causing. And should they be here? And Trump's been attacking universities and institutions and trying to gut out foreigners. Like that's been a big deal for a month, right? Well, this was a big deal to China. And apparently Trump told him it was over. That we're not taking you in here anymore because we don't like what you're doing here and blah, blah, blah. What China got in the end was the status quo. They gained nothing. Trump said, we won't do anything for now. We'll monitor their activity. We're going to vet some of these people, but we're going to allow the students to stay. So he literally created his own bargaining chip in the middle of this negotiation. And this was one of the most important things to the Chinese, is that they wanted their students to be able to come over here to our schools and universities. That is unbelievable that came down to the end, and that was one of the big takes here away from this thing. Trump has posted the United States will collect 55% tariffs, total tariffs, which means this is going to be different by product. If you're buying $5 T-shirts, my guess is there's going to be a 55% tariff on that product, or maybe more. If you're buying, 3-cent ink pens, it's going to be more than 55% on those things. But I'm going to also guess that things like iPhones or computers or whatever's manufactured over there, some of those are going to be less than 55%. He said total tariffs of 55%. China will collect 10% on our goods. We don't send that much to China. Last year in the United States, we raked in $440 billion worth of goods from China. And that's low-priced goods. Imagine how many items that is. $440 billion. If we take in $440 billion now, the United States Treasury will collect $242 billion, which would fund all of what we've spent in Ukraine on the war. $242 billion. Now, we can all be upset that there aren't more cuts in the big, beautiful bill, but if these are the kinds of deals he strikes, he's got a country that our Treasury is going to collect instead of from us, theoretically, from us to pay off a deficit that we owe and get our house in order financially, fiscally, instead of us paying it, $242 billion from one country to the U.S. Treasury through tariffs. Now, if somebody can explain to me how that's a bad idea, I'm all ears. You can say inflation if you want, but what did you buy from China that you needed? I watched the Amazon truck all damn day up and down my street, nonstop. I don't buy anything on Amazon. My wife, there in a day goes by, something showed up today in something the size of a regular envelope, and I don't know what's in there. I don't open her stuff, and my birthday and Father's Day are here, so I wouldn't mess with anything that's coming in anyway. So maybe it's a heavy week for that. Whatever was inside was about the size of my thumb. I'm thinking maybe it was lipstick or some kind of makeup or something that she ordered, and it's delivered to your door. Now, a lot of those little trinket things, I know where the plastic container is made that it's in. I don't know about the actual cosmetic inside or whatever. China seems like a reasonable destination. If the price goes up on your $6 lipstick or whatever it is to $7.50, that's probably not going to stop most people. We can say inflation is a killer, and inflation can be a killer when it's on things that we need, not stuff that we want, or we're habit buying, or addictive. Nobody's doing the reporting on this. Hopefully some university somewhere is doing a study, a real study. I've listened my whole life about how alcohol and drugs and gambling and all these things are addictive. Does anybody want to talk about how Americans shop themselves into financial ruin because they're addicted to buying crap on their phone? I mean, this has to be a problem for millions of Americans that are upside down and overwhelmed with credit card debt. And what stuff is showing up at your door from Amazon, from China? What is it that you're buying? Almost always, it's the next best fly swatter. Oh, look, it's this solar light I can put out here on my tree. It's $2 cheaper than Home Depot. I mean, what is it that we're buying that we're going to worry about these tariffs from China? I don't know what we get from China that we have to have. That's the point. We'd been relying on computer chips and pharmaceuticals. And we learned during COVID that we cannot rely on China for pharmaceuticals and computer chips. That's done. We've moved on. We're doing that here. Pharmaceutical companies are moving here. The largest semiconductor chip manufacturing plant on the planet is one-third constructed and open in Phoenix, Arizona. It's going to wind up being about a $40 billion project with 6 different buildings making chips. We're never going to need another chip from anywhere but the United States. So we've solved that. This is the perfect timing. And it's another one of those blessings that Donald Trump took 4 years off because he wouldn't have been able to do all this in real time had he worked the last 4 years. It's true. It's an absolute, look, Biden was a disaster. Bad things happened. They treated COVID horribly. Tim Walz is running around Minnesota complaining about Trump using the National Guard when there's riots in L.A. This guy brought in the National Guard in Minnesota to do what? He had them go up and down the streets in suburbia during COVID to make sure people were staying inside their houses and not sitting on their front porches. Get in your house, get in your house. National Guard up and down the street. That's what they were doing with the National Guard. They've all used the National Guard. Obama used it. Gavin Newsom's used it. It's what it's there for, except when it's to keep you and I in our homes during COVID, that's okay. When it's to stroll down the beaches in Los Angeles and find surfers out there in the ocean with sea creatures saying they're a threat to society because they're outdoors during COVID, that's not a good use of the National Guard. Stopping riots is pretty good. We're setting these things up, and things are clearly getting better, and the numbers are just getting better. If we bring in $250 billion in the next year on tariffs from China, that's just a ginormous win for the United States. And it comes on the heel of another month where inflation is lower than expected. It's 0.1 of a point lower than expected, May over May. It beat expectation, and they're doing this every month. Here's the raw numbers of the Trump presidency as of today. Prices, what things cost today versus 1 year ago today. Gasoline for your car is down 12.5%. If you want to buy a new iPhone, it's 14.3% cheaper. Airfare is down 7.5%. Leased cars are down 4%. Energy is down 3.5%. Vegetables are down 2.3%. Hotels are down 1.7%. I mention these because these are mostly things that people need. People work on their phone. They travel for business. They use gas to supply us with the things that we need in everyday life or to go do a job. We eat vegetables. These are really important. Energy is everything. The cost of energy for most people is everything. Like the power bill, the gas bill, the things that come every month. For most Americans, what that costs is a really, really big deal. Now, maybe you're in a fortunate situation where if your bill goes up and down, you don't really feel it that much, or you could turn your air conditioner off for a couple of days or whatever it may be. But when we're talking about the masses, even in the wealthiest country on earth, the United States of America, it is a very big deal what energy costs. And what energy costs and what gas costs affect the price of everything. So if you're wondering why there's been no inflation with the tariffs and all of the stuff that we're seeing, it's because energy is down. Energy leads to all of it. Great news today. You get it right here on Uncanceled. I'll be your pep talk every single day if I can. We are brought to you by our friends at bestofferkc.com, helping you leave the hassle behind. It doesn't really matter your situation. You know you're dealing with a local company, not some out-of-town group. Best Offer KC is people who live here, they raise their kids here, they care about their community, and they're involved. They help folks move on with less stress and more peace of mind. Tony in Independence faced a tragedy in her home. Best Offer KC came in and handled everything, including selling all the furniture, moving everything out, repainting walls that needed to be done so she could just go move forward, collect her money, and move on. That's what it's about. Leave the hassle behind. It's okay to not use a realtor. It's okay to not have your house on the market for 9 months. Interest rates have been high. The real estate market's been slow. If you want to sell, you can sell fast with bestofferkc.com. Call 816-844-6224. That's 844-6224. Bestofferkc.com is helping you leave the hassle behind.
Call Kevin Kietzman, 913-408-7957. Now on 95.7 FM.
Once again, proving you can be serious and have fun at the same time on KCMO Talk Radio. This is Uncanceled. I'm Kevin Kietzman, your host. It's always great to have you here. The Vince Show is coming up next. Then Guy Benson this afternoon from our studios right here in Kansas City, your home for KCMO Talk Radio. He is here today. He's a Yankee fan, headed to the game tonight. And tomorrow night, the big event at Boulevard Brewery, where we are sold out and looking forward to a wonderful evening. Pete has just set up a great event. And the staff here as well. Sales staff and promotions and marketing people. It's just going to be a great time for those of you that have tickets. We can't wait to see you. You can't wait to see it. You're going to get a chance to get your picture taken with Guy Benson. It will be a terrific event. Proving that Americans are rich and smart and entrepreneurial, but we're a big, beautiful country with a whole bunch of people that maybe wouldn't be on the top of the food chain when it comes to IQ. The TSA has put out a report notifying Americans, this is very important, that your Costco card cannot be used as a real ID.
All right, I got to tell my wife that we're flying tomorrow.
Can you imagine showing up at the airport with your Costco card?
I mean, she's still waiting on her real ID, so we're looking at alternative options, but the Costco card wouldn't have been on our list.
Oh, for tomorrow. Do you have a problem for tomorrow?
No, we're good.
Yeah, she has something.
Yeah, she has something.
Driver's license have the star on it?
No, but we have an old form of ID, so
My driver's license has a star on it.
Yeah, that's the new one. That's the
Okay.
new one. We got upgraded ones, but she had to go a little bit later than me because for women, it takes a little bit longer to get their official forms with their new last names and all.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We didn't have all that.
So I got something many years ago, and I think it lasts for 10 years.
That's nice.
At Costco. It's a passport ID. It's not an actual passport. So I have a passport, but I also have a passport card.
So that one won't work, though?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it will
That's
work.
all I use at the airport. Everywhere I've ever been. You know what I got tired of at the airport? Showing my license somewhere else and go, Kansas. Kansas.
Do you know Dorothy?
Yes. Every single time. There's no place like home. I'm like, no, I'm going to use my United States passport card. You can get one at Costco or the post office, wherever. They're not expensive. I think they're like $40, or that's what we paid for it. And it lasts like 10 years. It's a perfect ID for anything that you do anywhere. You can travel, I think, on a cruise ship, and you can go into Mexico and Canada with it, but you can't go to like Europe. You can't fly. They're not going to allow you in. You need the real passport for that. But we found them useful, very useful. Just don't take your Costco card to the airport. It's not a real ID. It's amazing. Jazz Chisholm plays for the New York Yankees. Last year during the playoffs, he was booed every time he came to the plate. And last night, he was booed every time he came into the plate. This guy's a punk. He's the player you hate. He's the player that if he's on your team, you kind of don't like him either, but he's on your team, so you have to like him. He's batting .215, and he wants to pick a fight with Maikel Garcia, the Royals' third baseman, who's a much better player than Jazz Chisholm, who slid into third base last night and acted like a quarterback that got a late hit when Garcia applied the tag. There was no tag. The ball was knocked loose. Chisholm gets up and acts like he's got a concussion. Ryan Lefevre's on TV going, oh, my God, has he got a concussion? They didn't know. He's holding his head, and his helmet's off. He had a cut, like a little scrape on his finger that needed a Band-Aid. And now what's he saying?
Oh, now he's calling Maikel Garcia the villain in the situation. Okay. All right.
He's threatening. He gets up, and you can read his lips. This is what he said. He says to his third base coach, when Chisholm slides up and Garcia's not standing there, he says to his coach, the ball's dead now, I'm going to tell you one more time. If he tags me like that again, I'm going to smack the F out of him. That's what he said about Garcia.
We could see a fight tonight.
Let's go.
We need to get old school a little bit. Fire these guys up.
Garcia seems to me like the most even-keeled, enjoys playing baseball, out there having a good time player on the entire team. Like he's got a little salvi to him and the way he just kind of bounces around. He doesn't want to fight anybody, and he's not tagging you hard, and he's not a cheap player. I think this is jealousy. I think he's like, you're kidding me. Their guy's better than me. I mean, think about it.
Little
Garcia,
brother syndrome.
kind of out of nowhere. Like Garcia's candidate for Royals MVP right now,
Yeah,
right?
he's been solid.
It's been really, really, really good. So we'll watch for that tonight. Oh, they got mayhem in California. We have more riots. In Antioch, California, which is east of Los Angeles, 60 cattle got loose in the middle of the night, and they're everywhere. And they're creating chaos like the riots. 3 bulls got loose on the 3rd hole of the Lone Tree Golf Club, and apparently they've destroyed it.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine bulls running loose on a golf green?
That would freak me out.
They would just destroy the darn thing.
Running with the bulls on a golf course.
Right. So they've apprehended, I guess, about half these, but they say if you see, this is great because this is San Francisco. You know, they like to make fun of flyover country. Oh, you people from Kansas. There's no place like home. They got cows in sort of suburban San Francisco, and authorities there are asking if you see a cow or a calf or a bull, please call us and let us know where it is because we can't round them up. That happened a few years ago. Remember out off K10?
Yeah.
In that, a truck spilled, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And the cattle all lived.
Yeah.
But some of them ran loose.
Mm-hmm. We saw some running down, I think it was 87th Street or something like that.
I love it. These just escaped and got loose. You heard of a basketball player named DeMarcus Cousins?
Yes.
DeMarcus Cousins is playing in the Puerto Rican League right now.
Okay.
And a fan was really riding him. That sits on the court. This fan's like just giving him the business all night. DeMarcus Cousins is all sweaty. And he walks over sort of in front of the fan and he reaches inside his shorts and starts scratching the living daylights out of his sweaty man parts and reaches over to the guy and wipes it on his face.
Oh, my God. That's one way to handle a situation.
What other radio show are you going to get that information? I'm just asking.
Just here.
Only in sports. So he's been suspended for the rest of the year.
Oh, no.
DeMarcus Cousins is done. Did you see Patrick Mahomes at the game last night?
Yes.
Sitting with the wife
mm-hmm.
in the Royals Guild. Did you see any pictures that he took?
I saw one with the Yankee Hall of Famer, right?
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson, that's right.
When I was a kid, there was nothing better than booing Reggie Jackson.
Mr. October, right?
Oh, you just booed him, man. He was Mr. October. No fan. Kansas City did not like him incredibly because Reggie Jackson was like a hated figure in Kansas City, like despised, as bad as you can ever imagine.
Like Robinson Cano for my era.
Of course. Except when the Royals won the World Series, who was in the locker room for ABC Sports that had to do the interview with Dick Hauser and Ewing Kauffman? Reggie Jackson.
Nice.
When his season was over, he worked for ABC Sports. He had to stand in the Royals locker room when the Royals won the 85 World Series. It was just fantastic. That's Uncanceled. I hope you had as much fun today as I did. The Vince Show is coming up next.